Hey everybody, this is Melvin and Darren with MyPlatinumClub.com.
Hello.
Good to see you back. And we're continuing on with our biggest mistakes to avoid, and this is going to be mistake number 4. What do you have for us today, Darren?
Well, you know, in our previous mistakes, we talked about one of the things was working with the right real estate broker, commercial real estate broker, and how important, really important that is. So this is kind of related to that. Because the reason why we want to avoid mistakes, obviously, I mean, there's really 2 reasons. One is to avoid wasting a lot of time, and the other is to avoid wasting money that we could easily be putting in our pocket that we don't unknowingly spend or lose as a result of making the wrong decisions, right?
You bet.
And so this is one of them, and it's related to working with the right broker. And it's making sure that you do your research and work with the right lender in the marketplace, okay, the right lender. And not a lot of people do this. And here I've discovered, surprisingly, that most investors depend on maybe 1 or 2 lenders for most of their activity when, they could be making a lot more money not only in monthly cash flow because they can get better terms with other lenders, but also be saving a lot of costs at closing as well. And so let me give you an idea of what you need to do in order to get the best financing package in front of you. Okay? Because, first of all, well, let me back up and just say that financing is something that we don't really talk a lot about because we talk a lot about strategies on buying and selling and managing. So we don't talk about financing, but you know, it is probably one of the most important things because once you get your financing in place, I mean, you can't change it. It's in place. You're stuck with it.
Right.
Right. For at least until you get new financing, which of course isn't the easiest thing to do in a quick period of time. So, in terms of getting the right financing, the number one thing obviously is we got to work with a lender that has a reputation for being the go-to lender in the apartment and commercial investment marketplace wherever you're at. Okay, and by the way, that can be banks and credit unions. Okay, so make sure you don't discount credit unions as a place to get loans because many credit unions are very hungry. They like commercial real estate, and oh, by the way, you don't have to be a member of the credit union in order to do business there. So always keep that in mind. Okay, it's just a little side strategy that we found that's worked very effectively for us in terms of getting the best financing proposal. Okay, but bottom line is whoever you decide to work with, be it a bank, be it a lender, be it a national lender like Fannie Mae, somebody like that, who pools money together in large chunks, you want to make sure you're working with an experienced lender, and that means an experienced loan officer or mortgage broker. Okay, so you don't want to be working with junior wet behind the ears this is his first or second time trying to figure all this out.
Sure.
Because you're going to have so many delays and so many problems in getting the deal closed that you're going to be bald pulling your hair out by the time it's all done. Okay, I mean I'm getting close, but you know, I mean that's what's going to happen. So you want to make sure you work with the go-to lender in the marketplace, and the go-to loan officer, commercial loan portfolio manager, whatever you want to call it, or in some cases mortgage brokers. Okay, so once you've identified the go-to lenders, then you want to be getting your project in front of them, all of them at one time.
Okay.
So you don't do this onesie-twosie. So you don't get. So let's say in our marketplace here in Melbourne, let's say that I've identified 5 go-to lenders. Okay, the loan officers are smart. Their mortgage brokers are smart. They understand it. They get it. They're not going to waste time learning about commercial real estate on my watch. They get it. Okay. So what I do is instead of going to one at a time, saying, "Hey, we guys finance this? Oh, okay, fine," and then seeing what they've got and saying, "Oh, okay, gee, that sounds great in terms of rate and term." No, you want to be going to all 5 of them at one time. So you get your package of your project. You get it to all 5 or 6 lenders at one time, and then you ask for them to get back to you with what they think they could do on this project, what their time frame is, what kind of rate, term, those kinds of things that you think they'd be looking at, and what kind of closing costs. Now here's the surprising thing. When you do this, you'll be shocked at the huge differences that you'll see. Okay, so I'll give you an example. We did this is a smaller project, but we just got doing this on an 8-unit property. Okay, we just closed on it here about 2 weeks ago. And we got the package in front of 5 lenders. Okay, we had on one end of the scale, we had a lender that basically told us You know, we typically don't do this. Is kind of small for us. We don't, you know, so we'll do it, but you know, we're going to probably charge you about 7.25% interest rate, etc. Okay, all right, higher closing costs. All the way over to the lender we decided to go with that's going to charge us 5.5% interest.
Wow.
Okay, very small closing costs and fees. And oh, by the way, we got to be able to put down less money with them as a down payment than we would have with that lender. And then we had everything in between. Okay. Now, what if I would have just gone with one or two? I mean, I'd be losing money. I mean, I'd be leaving money on the table every single month. Not only that, but
yeah, absolutely.
These guys wanted a bunch of money in closing costs. These guys didn't. And so, why did it happen? Why did it work out that way? It's very simple. These guys over here, that we decided to go with, wanted the loan, wanted to make the loan on that property worse. It fit their criteria for that time versus the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so if you don't get that package in front of multiple go-to lenders, you're literally leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the closing table. Now, the other reason you do that is this. After you do enough of these with lenders, you're going to hit what's called the legal lending limit. Okay? Well, many people don't know what that is, but I'll tell you in a real nutshell. Legal lending limit is basically banks are only allowed to loan you up to a certain amount of money. After you've got enough money borrowed from them, they can't loan you anymore. You're done. So you can't go get a loan at a bank and have $10 million worth of loans in one bank. Okay, because their legal lending limit, more than likely around here, is like $2 to $3 million.
Gotcha.
So now you got to go somewhere else, which is another reason why you want to use this strategy, because now you've got multiple lenders involved. So A, you don't run into that legal lending limit problem that much, but B, if you do, you've got alternative people that are familiar with you, know what you're doing, know what you're up to, versus having to start over again, start that relationship over again, and they don't know who you are. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So when you come full circle with this, the smart thing to do is not depend on one lender. Okay, make sure you work with the go-to commercial or apartment property lenders in the marketplace, or mortgage brokers. Okay, make sure you do that, and make sure you get your package to multiple, many of them at one time, and see what comes in versus just going over to one, not liking what they say, then another. Well, I'll see what the other guy says, and another. I mean, you wasted a month and a half. Get it all out there right away. You'll be surprised at what you get back, and you'll make a heck of a lot of money as a result.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
This is probably not just one tip, but probably about 5 or 10 in there.
Well, and like I said,
really good ones.
Well, we don't talk about lenders. I mean, we don't talk about
Yep.
this strategy very often. So I think it's important to understand it, and a lot of what we talk about is common sense. So we didn't really reveal anything here that's like, wow, I've never even thought of that. You know, most people at least conceptually get it.
Yep.
But until you're actually in the process of doing it,
Right.
you know,
In the heat of battle, so to speak.
it's a different thing.
You
So
bet.
find the go-to folks in your marketplace. Identify them, and they're not hard to find. You just ask around. You know, I mean, they're really easy to find. Their names will come up over and over again. Then once you've got a project, don't just go to one at a time. Get it to all of them at once, and you will be surprised at the amount of differences you'll see
Cool.
in terms of what the lenders will offer you, in terms of terms, rate, how much they're going to charge you, how much down payment they're going to require, etc.
It's huge. And like I say, it affects you every month, so
Yeah, I mean, you close today. You know, you got a 5-year loan. That's in place for 5 years, and you know, let's face it. In today's lending environment, refinancing property, that's not as easy as it used to be. So once
Sure.
you got the loan in place, it's in place.
cool.
Yeah,
All right, well, thanks, Darren.
you bet.
And thanks, everybody, for joining us today. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.
See you later.
Bye-bye.